Who's usually in charge of doing that? The city? Or?
We don't have any money.
Well, that's the other thing I'm surprised about is why don't they do like a local collection around all the local businesses?
We used to, but it just didn't work out.
Because Dunkirk does that every year.
From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Well, we're on the air. And this is Councilman Kaz Kwiatkowski and my good friend
Dave Paradiso from Cat TV.
And we don't have DJ with us. He's on sabbatical, we'll call it.
Yeah, he's moving. He's packing and moving stuff.
We're not going to lose him, are we?
I'm not sure, but he's at least putting stuff away and going through a lot of his stuff.
You can't afford to lose any more people out of Erie.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
Yeah, we're losing too many now, but well,
I heard a lot of the businesses are laying off right now as well, like the big companies, like FMC and GE and some of that again, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a sign of the times. They're either moving south or over the border in some cases.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Go ahead, your first caller. Go ahead. Hello? Is that on?
I don't know.
Hello, are you there?
I don't think it answered.
Okay. Let's,
try it again?
Yep, try that call again. We'll see something happened there.
It comes through.
4th of July weekend.
Yeah, it's a busy weekend out there.
Yeah, it's just one of the first times I haven't left town either.
Oh, yeah, that's a surprise then.
Well, usually I visit one of my kids, but it didn't work out this year, so.
There's always next year.
Yeah. I can watch the fireworks, illegal as they may be, all around me.
Oh, of course, they're going to be all over the place. People are want to,
Well, there's some. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taxpayer Hotline.
Well, I'm calling about no fireworks in the city of Erie today.
You mean legally or illegally?
No, the professional stuff like Milk Creek and whatever.
Oh, Dave here was going to bring it up, and
yeah, that we don't have any this year. How come?
Yeah, we haven't had them the last few years, and that's due to the fact that A, we don't have the money anymore, and B, those outfits that were sponsoring it in the city dropped out a few years ago. So Milk Creek kind of picked up the ball.
Well, if you let me start talking again, can I talk to you again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Interrupting?
No, I'm not interrupting you. I answered your question, but go ahead.
Okay, Milk Creek's going to have a fireworks program or whatever and it's going to be financed through the businesses and so forth, whatever. Is that what I understand?
Yes, we used to have sponsors, but they dropped out, and one year I remember nobody had fireworks.
Well, this I want you, Mayor Sinnott, to actually hear this part here. Mm-hmm. His program, when he first became mayor, was we're going to redevelop or whatever the restaurants, entertainment center, bars in the city of Erie, and he did that. He did that so very well. I mean, it's a magnificent system. Do you think for 1 minute he could ask them for $500 a piece or $300 a piece? And you city council, you just sit on your behold saying nothing about it. What do you think about that?
Well, I didn't say we did nothing. They came to us one year and explained that the only way they were going to happen, because they went to the previous sponsors and they put it out there in the media and no one stepped forward. And we were in no position to fund it out of the city budget. I couldn't authorize it, not based on the needs of the community. And to watch that kind of money go up in the air, I'm sorry if you feel that way, but nobody stepped forward at the time and nobody stepped forward since.
My point is the mayor never asked his diamond downtown area to donate. Don't you hear me?
Yes, I do hear you.
Having all the local businesses donate into it for paying for the fireworks.
Well,
now, was there anybody in charge of doing that? That's the other thing.
when he had the fireworks in Erie, there was a bank that was doing it.
Okay.
And then one year they got some money from EGRA, which was at the Gaming Commission.
Okay.
And then after that, the money dried up. We were informed from the sponsors, and then it was too late to get any money at the last minute.
Well, has there anybody that's been in charge of like wanting to do that type of thing go around to just a small,
Yeah,
proprietary?
the mayor, the administration does that.
Okay. Well, would that be something that might be interested in approaching them again about? Is for next year, let's go to the small local businesses and just have them chip in a little bit. And
Even Mill Creek last year, I think, did it on their own, and this year they got their first sponsors.
that's good. At least they're just getting something. So we have something better than totally nothing at all. Because I know I'm originally from Dunkirk, and that's what they do there. Is they go to all the local small businesses and get small donations, and everything adds up, and they do a huge display. I mean, there's hundreds of people that pack the area in the parks. They do a small carnival too because there's so much. But they do like an hour worth of fireworks, and that's what brings in people during that year. I'm just surprised Erie doesn't do anything much like that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go
Right
ahead.
ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're sitting back and backing the mayor, or whatever. I mean, he did so much for the downtown area, the restaurants and the entertainment and the bars or whatever. And you think it's okay? He couldn't step up and ask those people just a yes or no. I don't want a jerk around answer from you again.
Well, you want me to say yes or no, and I don't know who he asked, but he told council.
Just gave me a jerk around answer.
Oh, no,
Thank you. I'm going to
Okay.
hang up. You're just as you're
You know what? And there's no pleading with this guy. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
it's one of those. It's not anything in your hands. It's more or less, it's something to, having the mayor do that or not.
A mayor's a full-time employee. He has a
Right.
full-time staff. Councilmen are part-time. Go ahead, caller.
You ought to ask the people up the street for a little sponsorship.
Yeah, they got the professional ones. I don't know where they got them from, but
No, I'm saying up the street, the ones that gets all the advantage of the grants and everything downtown,
oh yeah.
don't want to put a nickel in to help out
Well,
the
you know,
community.
All that big development down on the Bayfront.
You know the guy's right, okay, but he's chastising me for.
How could he chastise you? He does not realize what you have to do to shoot fireworks in the bay. You got to go to the Coast Guard. You got to go to the feds. You just can't do this real quick.
Well, that's what happened the one year because everybody wants them. We don't like firing them off in the city because we don't have an area comparable to Mill Creek.
True.
They're hard to find where you could put a lot of people to park, okay?
Right.
We may have empty places to fire them, but look at even the ballpark, okay? They have them at the ballpark, and, you're limited there to what, about 6,000?
Yeah, they'll be doing that tonight.
Yeah, but, when we had them at the Bay, it was nice, but the one year, and I remember David Rocco telling me this.
Cost about 50,000.
Yeah, probably more now, but they had to go to the Coast Guard at the last minute.
Yes.
And the Coast Guard doesn't like to be told at the last minute, because you're dealing with security issues. Everybody thinks it's the old days where it's not. It's post 911. They're going to put their boats out there. They're going to restrict access for safety.
Yep.
And also, they don't want it. They don't want to be a distraction where something can happen illegally.
Well, yeah, there's a lot more area to cover. If you
Yeah,
got a
so
lot
I
of
mean,
boats stuff out there.
But nobody stepped forward, no businesses. And look, hey, I'm a part-time councilman. I go out and do what I can on my own. But when I look at the issue of fireworks compared to people calling me about blight issues and issues about zoning near their houses.
Issues about burning that nothing was done, and he was burning this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. You know what? He has a right to his opinion, but look, I don't know who the mayor contacted, but I didn't see anybody step forward.
Well, when you got a lame duck mayor, he's not going to go out and pound the people.
No, I mean,
That had the money to the philanthropists out there.
and then take it out of the city budget when he said we just stood there.
Oh, you don't take it out of the city
No,
budget.
there's no way I could justify to you, John, or to people out there who got real issues that I'm going to, and I don't want to say this in a crass way, but to put 50,000 or more dollars up in the air and blow it up,
Right.
even on my nation's birthday, okay? In a perfect world, the casino, the gambling group would have gave us money consistently. Okay, they didn't. So, we're left with...
Well, you got Perry writing all those checks after these other ones. The city of Erie is a great place.
And what this guy doesn't realize is, okay, it's not just 4th of July we're talking about.
Oh, no.
I mean, we got Celebrate Erie.
That's the big thing is the Celebrate Erie Festival as well.
Yeah, so you're going to go to the same people and hit them again?
Right. Well, that's the other thing. Why don't we do Celebrate Erie around the 4th of July?
I don't know why. I think they wanted it. Well, I think the problem is.
Remember when Panelec landed the whole thing?
Yeah.
And everything, what was it, the whole weekend or whatever? You got a button and all?
Yep.
But that was big dollars coming in.
But those days are gone with Penelec now.
The dollars are tight all over.
Well, yeah, there are a lot.
That's the problem. I think is the whole area. It's tight for money. I mean, just trying to get by.
And I don't even remember who sponsored Mill Creeks now. I mean, I don't know who stepped forward.
I'm not sure.
I think Baldwin gave him a bunch of money.
No, at least that's some money coming forward, but at least we got some type of a display better than totally nothing.
Wegmans give him money or not?
But in the city, we don't,
Well, everybody's leaving the city. Look at now, all the homes up for sale.
Well, yeah, I'm watching my neighbors leaving,
School district and their problems. Everybody doesn't know where their kids are going to go, so they're going to move out into the county. I read an article the other day where the city population is down around 98,000 now.
Yeah, but here's the kicker, though. The county has dropped below 280 now, too.
That people are leaving the state is what's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's...
There's nothing
right
here keeping people.
And then the 98,000 that are left, John, it's not the same 98,000 when you and I were younger.
They got to watch their bucks, and the families are all both working to sustain a nice home, keep it up.
There's a lot more rentals in the city, a lot less home-owned, family-owned homes.
Yeah, you can see the rentals are coming all up, and then you guys got to do something about that for this next budget. You got to put some teeth into that.
Into what?
Into your ordinances.
About the
the landlords coming in, about the work being done without being licensed.
Actually, I've been talking with Representative Harkins. I just got off the phone with him, and I gave him some of my feelings about a couple of the ordinances we did pass. We're waiting for okay on the state level.
Yeah.
But the problem we have on council is we consistently ask the experts, and these are the people we hire.
And you don't do anything to follow it up.
Well, no, they don't come and tell us there's any problems. I hear there's problems later, and I go, well, look, we have budget sessions, we have study sessions. We ask you.
We got to get a hold of that Republican representative.
Who?
What's his name? Laguna or Lagana?
Laughlin?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not too happy with him right now.
Well, he just got $14 million for the city school district.
By himself?
No, he voted for it and he pushed for it. Yeah. He brought in the senator along with him to look over the schools,
right,
and they couldn't believe what shape the schools are in.
But the whole Erie delegation was there in the support.
I can't believe how that the administration would let the schools deplete that far. We used to have janitors and everything else. Mm-hmm. Now they hire someone to come in.
Over the years, even when I was on the school board, there was years of neglect, and we would try to address them.
Well, you had a bonehead like Barker.
But every time we tried to address it, more problems started. So.
And the board didn't follow through. Put an ultimatum to get this taken care of.
Well, when we were there, we put in at the time, which was a lot of money. We put 20 to 30 million to take care of the most severe problems, and we got kickback from the public on that because anytime you raise taxes, you get yelled at.
Oh, of course.
But some of the schools, John, were in bad shape. Then it led to East being actually rebuilt because when they looked at the whole project, it just didn't make sense to renovate it.
Well, I think they would have renovated, then they would have had a building.
The only problem, John, is with the Commonwealth. They
wouldn't give the money on establishing renovation.
Nope, they give you more money for your dollar if you build a new school. Doesn't make sense, but that's...
Well, the new schools, you might as well say you can build them every 15 years.
At the time, we were looking at a new high school was $22 million, a middle school was $15, and a grade school was about $12 million. So you can just change that now.
Oh, yes. So, well... We got a high grass complaint up there where that house burned down years ago, and where the alderman was going to fine him $10,000 or $1,000 a day, and they said they were going to build real quick on Page Street, Upper Page.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's Fargo. And the grass is about 3 feet tall. It's coming up to the road. It's going to be hard to see.
We're going to be cutting grass all summer, it looks like.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
As much rain as we're getting.
You ought to have your grass crew go right over there when they do this triangle up here. And lean them.
I'll talk to them. I don't know what they got on the agenda, because they try to take the most severe.
Yeah, well, this is up there pretty good. And it's getting to the point where you can't see coming out. Just like down there at, where was that? At Grandview and Pine Avenue.
Yeah, they got that cut now.
They just did a corner. They didn't do the whole thing.
I see, or the guy was right. We are getting a UPS in there.
Yeah, but U-Haul.
Yeah, U-Haul, I'm sorry.
U-Haul's going in there?
Does PM Auto own that property?
I thought they did, but...
He just cut the corner down where you can see through. And how did we make out on the fire pits? Did you talk to him upstairs, code enforcement?
I have a call into him, but he hasn't called me back yet, so
I think we ought to retire Zimmerman and get somebody in there to handle.
Well, it's actually the fire chief I got to talk to, the inspector.
Yeah.
He's the one that makes the rules.
Well, it's close to the garage.
They were on the...
And the cut slab wood is there, so he's not just burning on Saturdays like he's supposed to.
It used to be Santone, now he's chief now, so I'm going to take a walk up there right after there, see if I can catch him before he leaves.
Yeah, find out.
And we smell it up here on upper side all the time. The wind always seems to be prevailing to the south, and you can't even sleep at night.
No,
have a good one.
You too.
Hey, one quick thing.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube and look up the Pine Tar incident with George Brett. You'll get a good laugh.
Oh, the Pine Tar incident. Okay.
Interesting. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, they were on TV about it. I didn't even know this sparklers are illegal in the city.
Oh, wow. See, I didn't even know that.
They used to be illegal, I thought. Yeah. Whoa.
Go ahead, caller.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
I'm glad you called. I checked on your problem you called me on.
Uh-huh.
That is going to be a car lot, looks like.
Okay, we were wondering because I've seen some strange activity going down there. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I checked on it. It is zoned properly. It's a permissible use. They're still working on it, is what I was told. It's a work in progress. And because if you watch, they work a little bit at night. And
okay, that's what I thought maybe because there's enough of them parked there. Usually when I'm waiting for the bus down in that area. The taxpayers, from what I understand, they called in on 1,400, and I would say 90% of them have been against the community college.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to have to pay twice as much. They're already paying once that the state, they're paying to the state what goes for that. Then now the county council wants them to pay another 1/3. I guess right now I understand they are going to look at some of the, see if they can get support in the business, have maybe divided in a fourth instead of thirds, so 1/4 will be paid by community businesses.
Well, I think I don't think anybody's against the concept of it, but there's a lot of questions on.
5349. Anyway, that's about what the community college there, and a lot of people were against it because it just was not. I can't afford it. I got a $5 a month raise for COLA for Social Security. That's all I got. Whereas school teachers, they got a 17% raise of anywhere
Well, I think a lot of people are worried, Doc. I think they're saying that the concept is great, but what gap are you filling that's not filled now?
Yeah, I mean, we've got 3 colleges already in the area. I mean, it'll help more for some like the...
And that can be divided. I mean, even if you took some of that money that they were talking about from the casino and donation, whatever, and divided among those who are wanting to go to college, help them offset some of the costs. But hey, you know, the days in the past, they used to have Hammett had a nursing school, St. Vincent has a nursing school, GE had their apprenticeship training program.
Yeah, you're right. They all dropped them, and now, you know.
Yeah. They all expect to have a college degree to do that now. Where before they used to train you in-house.
They'll have their...
There's the tech schools, but there's, not many of those left either.
No, because...
And even those, though, they're pumping out students, but there's none of the jobs here to pick them up.
Well, part of it is because they don't always hire those who are yet they train.
Exactly. They want somebody with years of experience.
Couldn't get hired after they went through all the schooling. And the same thing's going to happen with community college. I know there are people that my brother-in-law taught at a community college for a few years, like I was going to say about 10 years. And he said, about it, in college, they don't end up staying there. They end up having to go to a different place altogether for it.
See, Mississippi did it, and they had it on, it was on the national news. And what they did, they hired this guy who came in, and he looked at what the problem was in the area, what factories had left, what chances they had of attracting new ones. And what they did was they tailored their community college to address the needs of the businesses that may want to come back. And so it'd be like us, with the, as an example would be, we have the welders that work on the ships here, okay? And that would be an example of, the company's looking for people with specific skills,
right.
So you match up your education. That's what they did in Mississippi. And so
we don't do something like that here. I mean, that's the one thing I've seen. I have relatives that went to school for welding, but it's like the businesses here, they want, we need 5 to 10 years of experience before we'll even hire you, because
right.
we can't just hire people that are brand new. And that's the problem.
Even though they got welding at Tech and all that.
Right.
And
that's the tough part.
Yeah, and the problem is, we asked them over, when they presented at the council, and what was the curriculum? They really couldn't say. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
And that scares people too. That they're not sure where the funding's going to come from after 5 years.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is figuring out stuff that'll work.
We missed our opportunity there, Kaz.
What?
A few months ago, probably about 3 months ago, I said what we ought to do is try to get a hold of, say, Amazon to see if they can get a distribution point here.
Yeah.
They just announced, last week that they're going to put one in Detroit, hiring 1,400 people.
That is,
Amazon is going to make a new distribution point for this area.
Our economic development people on all levels, the ones that have the inventory of buildings, the ones, because there is the groups here that know where the empty buildings are, how much square feet they are.
We don't have enough of them?
Well, apparently we're not working hard enough to...
Get their interest.
Yeah, I mean, what you got to do, and if you're going to do it right, you got to pay people to do this, to go out and be your cheerleaders that go around and
bring people in.
And bring people in, right.
Bring business in. The biggest thing I've seen, even running, a small nonprofit or just a small business, is finding something that's reasonable to even work out of. Because a lot of the stuff that's here, they got huge amounts of space, and then they want lots and lots of money for it. That it's not worth it. I mean, you got a rundown building, and they're not putting any money into it.
And that's a problem.
And then they expect the business owner to put the money back into it when they have barely enough money to keep just a business open.
Where did I read we just lost a business? Well, Kmart was an example.
Yeah, they're down to 2 stores in the area.
The landlord didn't take care of the building, so they moved out of Grandview.
Yep.
But somebody else moved,
There's also
Doc.
one up on Summit, too. They did the same thing. That's where the Gabe's is at now. That building there, they didn't renew the lease, and they weren't repairing the building.
Where, Gabe's?
Well, that's where Kmart used to be.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And somebody just moved. Do you remember who it was, Doc?
So what?
Giant Eagle just moved and they closed a few of their smaller stores and made the one big store.
Somebody moved out of the city, though. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was kind of a shocker. It had to do with the landlord.
Yeah, but there's the one that moved in for the old country market, Erie County Market there.
Yeah, he moved in there.
They moved in from Buffalo.
But there was somebody else that just moved, and it was kind of shocking.
Well, they moved out or moved in?
Moved out, and they were one of the. They were kind of an established old business. Kind of a shocker. I'm trying to remember what it was, and it was about they couldn't work out of.
Moved out to Harbor Creek.
No, I think they just went out of business because they couldn't work out a suitable lease.
Oh, is that the new, or there was the one tire place across the street from Kathy
That's what it
on
was.
12th, yeah.
General Tire Dock.
Yeah, the owner of the building didn't want to work with the business anymore. There must be something else going on, and told the business
And that place has been
not
there.
renewing the lease. They've been there for 30 years.
Well, yeah, they were, well, I think longer than that. They were there, I remember, well, maybe you're right, because it might have been called something else before that.
I mean, they were a successful business, but the guy's like, I don't have any other place to go, so I'm just going to have to close the business down. And that's the sad part, is like, either the landlord hopefully has somebody else, business owner,
Yeah.
or the building owner has somebody else going in there, or they're going to make it a parking lot.
The way to visit Erie's been advertising Erie, too. They're reflecting a side of Erie that I don't think many people in Erie realize that they're reflecting, and it's hurting our image. I know that. I had somebody from Florida say, have you been to Visit Erie website?
Oh, yeah, don't bring it up on the air, but I think I know what you're talking about.
It's hurting, I think, a lot of people because they aren't too sure.
I haven't seen it. I have to look at it.
Well, I know that some of it is like they want the area more of a tourist town type thing, and we have some stuff which is great, but then a lot of it is we don't have the manufacturing or the taxpayer base to back the type of stuff we want to do.
I'll get off the air so others can call, but just wanted to let you know that, when 1400, when they were talking about before they vote,
Yeah.
I would say 80 to 90% of the callers were against the community college, and of course the 5 different locations they met, I found out a lot of people said those were at inconvenient times and locations, because even some of those were what they call farming communities, and the farmers are out there planting and trying to get their fields ready, so they don't have time to go to those things.
That's going to drive the students away, is what it's going to do.
Even the fellow from Mill Creek said that they wouldn't even allow him to bring up some of the issues he needed answers for. They wouldn't even answer that. They just, one other thing too was that 2 of those people who were on that county council were basically promoters of it, and to me and a bunch of others here, we feel that would disqualify them for voting. There was a conflict of interest there. They couldn't vote unbiased, in other words.
Yep, that happens a lot.
Well, see, those votes should be dropped out. It would put a 2-2 vote final. But I don't know. It was railroaded in on us, that's for sure. All right, you have a great day.
Yeah, tell your friends that's what they did approach the city, and they can use it for that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if it will work, fine. But if the county employers stand behind it, or even like the United Way, so we'll support it. I like to see them put a line item in their budget for it too.
Oh, that. I mean, I'm talking about your car lot over there. So
I'll keep an eye on it, because I see some strange things happening here while I'm waiting for the bus. So,
okay.
People, no, I won't say over the air. So.
Fill me in sometime, okay?
Well, give me a call so I can talk to you. So, all right, you take care.
Okay.
Have a nice weekend. You too, DJ.
No, it's not DJ.
It's not.
It's David.
Okay, I couldn't tell who it is that's with you.
Yeah, David's here today.
Yep, filling in.
Okay, well, hey, you guys have a happy, safe 4th of July, dear.
You too, Doc.
We're going to wire up Dave's vehicle here with some fireworks.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be next.
Don't let there be any fireworks over the air, though.
Oh.
Okay, bye now.
Yeah, these people at top of my hill, what a show they put on.
Oh, it's surprising on some of the stuff out there.
It's heavy shit. It's
Yeah, it's stuff that we're not allowed to have, but people still do it. I mean, it's 4th of July. People are trying to have fun. As long as they're doing it safely.
they even got a drone up there filming it.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
I saw one time. I said, what? I was looking at, strange light, and it was
Yep.
bobbing and weaving a little bit, like.
I remember a couple of years back, there was one of my neighbors, I think, was doing it, and they had a bunch of fireworks they're shooting off, and then they had like a handful of different drones flying around too, just for the different lights and showing it off.
Those drones are interesting.
They're a lot of fun.
You ever fly one?
I've flown a little bit, yeah. Some of them are expensive, though.
My son-in-law has one of the expensive ones.
Yeah, they're pretty neat.
I was amazed what you could. They're dangerous.
Yes. You have to learn how to ride them.
Well, no, I mean we should worry about them because they can do things that.
Yeah, they're quite in depth on some of them.
The range on them and the clarity of the.
The cameras, yes.
Yeah, I could see some issues bothering people.
Yes, of course there is. That's why some of them are, the bigger ones are actually regulated, where they have them through the FCC and such.
I think they flew. How far? That thing went about. They get out there pretty far.
Oh, yes.
And then they got the automatic, if it goes down below the horizon, it kicks back to where it was.
Yep, that way then it doesn't,
I was surprised at the stability of them compared to the ones that kids use,
Yeah. So what's the city going to do about some like these bigger empty buildings, that have been empty for quite a long time? Like the old Erie Mill Iron building. It looks like trees are growing on the top of it.
Well, the trouble you got is if they're owned by somebody, it's hard to take them away.
Okay.
Under state law, it's very tough to acquire things.
Right, but at least to have the property owner do something productive with the building and not just have it an eyesore.
As far as I know, and we're told that, and this is, council does not control the departments, the mayor does.
Okay.
And when they go out there, they work with the owners, trying to.
Oh, of course.
But if they do become a hazard, then they're subject to being able to be tore down quicker. But the process to cite them, like you got that factory on 12th Street.
Right.
Part of it he's using and part of it he's not.
Yeah, that's the issue with it.
And they're hesitant about. And what happens if you take it? If you take it, it's yours.
But yeah, because then the city will have to pay for tearing it down or doing something with it.
Or something. And we if you read the paper, we're trying to get $1.5 million out of the legislature through the gambling commission, so we can, the county and us together, can go after old property through the land bank.
Oh, there you go.
But these are all tools.
It's processes of getting to it.
Yeah,
It's like I've seen, there's that old Lord factory over on 12th and Green Garden.
Yeah,
They started tearing it down. It was coming along.
Well, they're piecemealing it because, like anybody else, they probably have limited funds.
Right. Well, that's the other problem with trying to take care of stuff around is having enough money to be able to handle it correctly.
But yeah, you look at that and you say, I forget what they said going in there afterwards. They work with the economic people a little bit.
I'm glad at least something's being done with it or something's going in there. It was sad to see Lord pull their company out of the area, but
they're tearing it down, that building on 12th.
Right, they're tearing it all down. But at least something's going to be done with it. At least something's better than it just sitting there vacant and having nothing going on.
Yeah, the trouble is GE, they tore down a lot of their buildings, and
yeah, now it's just big empty fields.
A lot of them are owned by. There's a gentleman in town like Rick Griffin. He owns a lot of the old factories.
Right.
He's trying to repurpose them.
Yeah.
And a couple of them, they got dog kennels and schools and.
Yeah, he's putting some money into some of the buildings.
But
some of the stuff, it just takes time and having the funds to be able to go and the funds and the people to come in and do stuff for it.
But you can have all the ideas in the world, but if there's nobody out there that's
wants to step up to do it.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the biggest thing I've seen. It's like I got some ideas, I want to do this, and then it's finding the funds and the reasonable place to do it.
Well, the economy right now is not in good shape.
No, and it's getting worse. The sad part, unfortunately.
In some places, but like years ago when the factories were just expanding.
Oh, they're booming. I could just imagine how
they were adding on. Now you're going back the other way, and
yeah, everything's down, decreasing and downsizing.
You drive around Erie and you see all the empty parking lots with weeds growing up there where it used to be filled with workers.
Not even parking lots. I just see concrete slabs. Or just there used to be a huge building there, a factory, and it's just fenced off, and it's just a big empty lot. And it's like almost finding a way to repurpose those or do something with them. But they just sit there vacant, and that's the sad part is people see a lot of that.
People read the paper and they think that your politicians bring all this stuff in. They don't.
No, a lot of it's the business owners that own the properties.
And the only thing we can do in government, and that's why I know that guy in the first caller was all upset, but you can create an environment. That's all you can do.
Right.
And at the end of the day, nobody's coming here unless they think they can make money.
Right. Well, the biggest thing is the government should be trying to do is, less restriction on the businesses that are here and make it more favorable for bringing business back in.
Which brings me to one of my topics.
There you go.
And you brought me right into it. What do they call that, a segue?
Something like that.
I was talking to a businessman the other day,
Okay.
and we were talking about how tough it is to do business in the city.
Yes, that I have noticed.
And some of it is necessary, and
Right. Well, because of the size of the city and the type of the city we are.
and we get safety rules,
Right.
Yes, you can go out to Mill Creek and do things a lot easier, okay?
Well, that's why Peach Street's grown as big as it is,
Right.
and as many people that come through there.
But here we've learned that, sometimes you can't because you're right next to someone, you have to
Well,
have
parking's usually a limitation. Getting people in and out of your business is a limitation. I mean, I see some of the businesses around Perry Square that they're booming, or some of them are doing great,
Yeah.
but some come and go depending on the type of business and the type of clientele you got coming through.
And you look at everything that we like, we insist, and we have to by law, that all the buildings are ADA, the whole downtown is ADA.
Right.
You don't see that in Mill Creek out necessarily,
No, you can get. Well, they're supposed to legally because it's more of a federal law, but.
but they don't do it all the time.
Right. Well,
So,
the other thing is some of the buildings and stuff downtown, they're still grandfather claused in on not having to be ADA yet because they've been owned by the same people for so long.
But the city is wired up that way.
Right.
But you go out to Mill Creek and you'd have trouble along Peach Street some stretches.
Yeah.
And you don't have, and you look at the city and you go, so this businessman told me, and some of this stuff is really nitpicking. This is not safety issues.
Right.
He gave me an example of, he wanted to put a sign up.
Okay.
So we have a restriction on size of signs by property. Now, some of them are necessary because,
Well, having a huge amount of sign could be distracting or.
yeah, and especially if they're on the corner.
Right. The sign.
But
Disturbing for the public.
I'll give you an example. We had my barber, who's since deceased now. He owned a plaza,
Okay.
and he had 3 businesses in there. He had 3 little signs on top, on poles.
Okay. That would make sense because
Yeah.
that way it would,
So they
display
weren't
businesses.
they weren't distracting to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
They were up high, but
Out of the way.
the one business wanted to put a better sign up, and they were told they couldn't because of the square footage law. You had other people who openly either disobeyed the law or somebody looked the other way.
Right. And they just put it up anyway.
Have huge signs where they shouldn't be. And when we do that to merchants, we create
That restricts things and then makes more of a tension on.
or we treat some people different than other people.
Yes. Well, the backroom deals on some of the stuff is not fair for people either.
Yeah, and so, you do that to a guy, and I remember another guy I knew, he was opening up a brand new business. You don't have to have air conditioning.
Right.
You don't have to.
No, it's recommended, but you don't have to. Well,
But
also the cost
as
of business.
But
is
as a
overhead.
quality, he was going to put one in, but he was told it didn't meet the standards. Now, I don't think we should be getting into stuff like that, because the customers will tell you if it's too hot in there.
Right. Well, it should be more on the design of the business owner. We should stay within safety reasons, but not overly
But,
restrictive.
You can go to 9th and East Avenue hot dog shop, and the guy's got a fan in there.
Yeah.
Okay? Nobody complains, okay?
Well, it's a hot dog shop. I mean, that's a typical type of atmosphere.
So if you go to a restaurant and the guy, I've been to some of these diners that didn't have good air in there, out of town, and you know what? If it bothers you,
You deal with it, and
you don't go back if you don't like it. But, restricting people and making it tough on them when there's no good reason to do it, unless they can tell me what the reason is. So when you do that to businesses, and you keep putting roadblock after roadblock in front of them,
Well, that just deters businesses from coming back.
well, then they take the least resistance, which is they'll go to Mill Creek.
Yeah, that way they don't have to deal with a lot of the red tape.
Right.
And that's a lot of what I see businesses, they don't want to come into the city because, okay, well, here's all the ordinances and everything that's on the books, on top of any of the new ones that are coming through that they have to go figure out how to figure out to
Yeah.
do business or even start up.
So he come up with a good idea. He told me, and I thought we had one, but I don't think we do. I would like to put together a group of merchants, businessmen. And next week, by the way, I was going to tell you that I got to call and verify it, but make sure we're still on the same agenda. But next week we may have, and you're welcome to come, okay?
Okay.
We're going to have Johnny Buchner here from downtown.
Okay, cool.
Remember, you know John?
I'm not sure if I know
He's the
him
head
or
of the
not, but-
downtown district.
Okay, cool.
And I'd like you here for your perspective. And
I'll have to see if I'm working.
so I'm telling everybody here that if you got any issues about downtown, here's your chance to ask him. And I'm hoping he doesn't change his mind. We have it scheduled
Just get him coming in and make some get some questions for him.
Yeah, because people are asking about why we don't have a market and this and that. So you got 1 week. Think about your questions.
Yeah, I'll write them down and I'll make a list.
There you go. You can give them to me if you can't make
Yeah,
it.
I'll let you know.
But
of
if you
course.
can, I appreciate you being here. But
Oh, of course.
we're gonna this is your chance to ask them whatever bothers you or whatever you don't like or like about downtown. I'm sure he'll have updates on the market that's going to be in the bus station possibly. And even though the Bayfront is not his bellywick,
He might know somewhat of what's going on
Yep.
down there, though.
so I mean this is your chance. And I know people have asked me, what's the direction of downtown going to be? What do you got planned?
Right, he would know that direction. He'd
Sure.
have some type of plan of what's going on next.
And so I'm going to bring this
Yeah,
up
cool.
about maybe forming a little group that can meet with council, because council can do that on their own,
Yeah.
and just have
Well, that way.
tell us what
what wants to be downtown, or what
would you like to
direction-
see?
Yeah.
How can we help you?
How can we help small business to be able to come in or be able to work on such, or to be able to bring in what people want to have?
See, I get mad because I don't think our economic people all the time go out there and actively pursue somebody and say,
I don't think they do.
what would it take for you to come here? Now, everybody would like to see another movie theater, but when you read around the country, those are.
They're dying out to an extent,
Yeah,
depending
but-
on the type of
but this-
movie theater and stuff.
But this is the stuff you got to ask me. Say, what would it take to bring like even Wegmans? What would it take for you to come in the city? What would it take? How can we get a grocery store back at the Grandview Plaza for the people, the elderly there?
Right. Well, that's the other thing is finding the older community to be able to have things coming in for them, and again, because a lot of that stuff's gone away.
So we need somebody like and you know what? If you're into that kind of thing, and I do,
It'd be more of a proactive type thing.
Yeah, I look around and I say, geez, how come this chain don't come to Erie, or this,
Yeah.
or how about talking to the business people that exist here, okay?
Yeah, and then expanded what they have on some of it too. I mean, Krause's hardware store is really cool. A lot of the some of the older stuff, but it's
I would hate to see him leave, though.
exactly. It's like we want to keep them happy to stay here and grow or expand. I mean, different options or different ideas too to bring new business and or keeping some of the old businesses still here.
Well, I was doing my other thing yesterday where I do this volunteer radio show, and so I was talking with the kid there. It's a businessman. And he was
There you
telling
go.
me all the trials and tribulations of opening up his office. It would have been easy for him to head over the border.
Yeah, over the Mill Creek, and here's a small place that's open, or I can rent real quick and be able to move right in.
Yep.
Or here it's getting through all of the different regulations and ordinances. Now, has the city or the council even gone through all the ordinances that are here and reviewed what's here first to see what can be?
We had a councilwoman a few years ago that did that.
Because I was just thinking, I mean, if some of it is not,
She came in.
relevant, to go through and get rid of some of it.
She came in one time and she did it. The trouble is, like, a lot of councilmen work. I'm not making excuses, okay? A lot of them work, a lot of them are part-time.
Right, well, of course.
This would be a good project, and I brought it up in the past with the old city clerk, where you bring some college kids in,
Yeah, that'd be a great thing for the college.
like a work study thing, especially kids that are in political science,
Mm-hmm.
and have them look through the ordinances and say, what looks weird? Okay, obviously,
Well, the younger kids would know some of that, too, on what it'd be more proactive and what's more up to date.
and we probably got ordinances in there, but we had some about chasing a streetcar with a bicycle. Okay,
Yeah.
that's obviously out. Okay,
Right.
And it was Mrs. Husband, Ruby Jenkins' husband. She went through it one time, and she was repealing all these old ordinances that spitting on the sidewalk, which was
Well, that was probably years and years ago from...
tuberculosis and
Yep.
stuff. So a lot of these things had their roots in,
Well, is there a easy way to access all the ordinances for the public to be able to do that?
I think they're on digital now, so it would be a lot easier.
Oh, that's good then. At least if it's all in one location, that way it'd be easier to review.
I believe they all are, But I have to talk to the old longtime city clerk. He's always a fountain of information.
Oh, there you go then.
Mr. Clem, I'll ask him sometime, but, she did a good job. She tried to clear up, there was tons of them that made no sense.
Well, that's the other thing is you want to get the ordinances that are clamping down on what's, that's deterring people from coming in and make it more easier for people to come in within reason. I mean, that's the main thing is within reason.
Well, there's a lot of things I like to see here that,
Right. Well, that and just, like I know for sure, right now it's more expensive in the city for the, a lot of the rental properties than it is out in Mill Creek or other, smaller rural areas.
Why is that? Do you know?
I think a lot of it is there's a handful of people that own a lot of the property,
Mm-hmm.
and they think that it's worth lots of money, and our economy just isn't here to support that. They expect a huge, big, home run instead of let's go for a small amount and grow from there. And that's what a lot of the ideas and stuff I've seen.
I notice a lot of houses in the city as they're being sold or turned into rentals, and
I've been seeing a lot of people some people have been flipping the houses. They've been buying them and then making rentals and selling
that's
them.
what council's been a little concerned about is the flipping.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that lately too.
We want, like, when we passed the urban garden concept, that was kind of like, okay, instead of people just buying land and then flipping it and, not doing anything with it,
Develop it,
let's throw it out there. If the Sisters of St. Joseph want to do it, or if the communities, the various neighborhood communities want to do,
Right, they want to do something.
Take one under
Gotta
their-
Go right ahead and do some of that.
or even private people, if they want to, like, just buy the land and,
Develop it.
yeah. We get them all the time here. They come up to the podium, and a lot of them just want to, fence them in, cut the grass, keep them clean, because they're tired of living next to them.
Yeah.
And ultimately, yeah, you like to see people build on them, but that horse hasn't come back in the barn yet,
Yeah, no, that's a big expense. But the main
Population
thing
is going down right now everywhere,
Yeah, the biggest thing is you want to do something at least with the property, not just that it's said.
Oh, and you know what?
Like I was saying about the big, the areas where they've tore down buildings, you get this huge concrete lot, and it's just fenced off, and you got all the grass raised and growing.
Right, and it doesn't say in the future we can't rebuild again. We could.
Right, it just takes time to get to it.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, that business you're talking about, that closed?
Yeah.
No Tire?
Yeah,
Chuck Conrad?
Yeah,
He's been in business for about 50 years or 60 years.
wow.
it's been a while then. Yeah, I knew it was a long time.
It's a sad day when they leave.
Well, we're losing 13 employees.
See, that's a little thing you don't hear about.
Yeah, there's 13 men.
They're
Now
gonna
where are
have to
they going
find
to go?
jobs now.
Firestone or Kurt Tire? Or
If there's enough room to absorb all of them,
a lot of them have ASE mechanic certificates and everything else. They won't have a problem. The problem is the income we're losing down there because some gluttonous landowner wouldn't renew the contract. They couldn't get together.
Wasn't that building, correct me if I'm wrong, John, was that part of the redevelopment process when they tore out the Central Market area?
I don't think so.
You don't?
No, that used to be next to CBS television studios, and there was Mace Electronics down there where they built all them white elephant apartments that are still sitting empty.
Yeah.
And Chuck was a great guy. I did business with him for probably 25 years.
Because I know that one tire place, I think it was Firestone, that was part of the redevelopment project, wasn't it?
I don't recall.
Because remember when they tore it down, they built the Central Mall?
Yeah.
They tore down a lot of property near there. And like the professional building, the bowling alley.
You're talking about...
You recall to see him? That was all part of that project.
Blue Ribbon? Blue Ribbon used to be down there. And the Vets Club used to be down there. And Moose Club had a bowling alley.
Oh, no, I mean,
I
when,
worked at all of them.
no, I mean, when they tore down that Central Market and they built the Erie Coliseum and the hotel, the Holiday Inn and all that,
Yeah,
and then the mall, that was all part of a huge project, remember?
yeah.
I think that Firestone was probably part of that project. That's all over in that area, too.
Yeah, I thought the Firestone was
It's over
part
by
of
the
it, too.
18th Street.
Fairstone's on 18th Street now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we used to do a lot of business. See, we worked for Penelec, and we bought all the big tires and the little tires.
I
And
remember General Tire butted up against a couple of buildings down there, because there used to be railroad tracks there at one time.
were. But Chuck is a super guy, and I guess he didn't want to get tied into a high lease.
Well, no, I mean, they probably a very competitive market now, you know.
Yeah, well, I think the owner is probably thinking he's going to get a lot more than what it's worth. He had a sure thing there.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of the owners, a lot of building owners, is that's what they think. They're trying to get this huge home run.
Yeah.
We're going to get this big corporation coming in, and then nothing happens. They sit on
No, it's not
vacant
going to happen.
property.
You're not going to see any major industries come in here. And just like with this community college, you can teach a kid to flip a hamburger. What's the community college going to teach these kids if there's nothing there for them to work with?
Exactly.
Everything's going automatic and with automation, with robots and all that.
It's sad that, I worked at an electronics shop for like 8 years, and I started as a cashier, and I'm making as much money or more than after 8 years at a manufacturing shop.
Right, you learn on the job. That's what I did. I got all my education from Penelec, and I went up the ladder. I was making good money when I retired in 1999. I went at 58 years old. I got my figures, and I found out that it's cheaper to retire. I'd make more money.
Yep.
And you wouldn't have to take the grief. But anyways, watch out for Billy Martin and the Pine Tar.
Hey, John. Hey, John, you know that money we're trying to get from the Commonwealth, right?
Yeah.
The $500,000?
Uh-huh.
It's not looking too good right now.
I thought that was going to be. You had the guy out for breakfast. You should have hit him a bit.
Who's that?
Didn't you have Pat out for breakfast?
Yeah, but he's not the one, but...
I know, but you gotta start somewhere.
No, I mean, we have the money from the House of Representatives,
Yeah.
but now the Senate, our local senator is kind of like, doesn't look like he's going to support our endeavor.
Well, how would you like to say you got a budget and now you got to find out how to pay for it?
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
so here's what I'm telling the public, John. If we got that $500,000, okay, you follow me?
following you.
Okay, it would be restricted to buying much-needed equipment, fire trucks, police cruisers, stuff like that. It would not go into payroll or anything like that. It could be, I think it can also be used for capital improvements, probably like maybe some road work.
Some of the stuff that we desperately need is
So we-
better equipment and better
Well, capital
infrastructure.
improvement for road work isn't capital improvement.
No, but we could put it into something else that we're going to need.
Well, yeah, that's
But-
true. Like they're going to say that body cameras, you could get Scott air packs. They last a long time. But I can't see capital improvement getting bonds for it. When you go for a capital improvement, it has to last 25 years.
No, we could use the money from this $500,000 a little bit each year for maybe a little bit of road paving,
Now let's get a hold of the right people. Get a hold of Kelly, Thompson.
Well, it's really it's up to one guy now. I'm telling people to call Senator Laughlin, okay,
Yeah.
and beg him that consider the needs of the city, which we don't get a dime out of there right now.
Well, that's from the state. We should go to the federal government.
Well, we're going to have to. But right now, our immediate thing is we have $500,000 right now,
Sitting there.
okayed by the House, but the Senate's going to be voting on it. So I'm telling all the people out there that are listening, mark this number down. If you forget it, you can call me or call here at. I'll be glad to give it out.
Number for Harrisburg.
This is the number for Senator Laughlin.
I got his number.
Okay, maybe this is the
Write
other.
it down.
What number you got, John?
You got the number you got to pay for.
Oh, this is here's this one, 450-4070.
450-470.
No, it's area code 814.
Yeah.
450-4070.
4504070.
070.
Yep, tell him, please consider us. We desperately could use the help. The money will not be squandered, I promise you that. And we're in need. We have some police cars that are flipping over at 200,000 already.
Yeah,
knows how
they're
much
on the go
longer.
constantly.
And then we got a couple fire trucks that are in need of...
Well, they won't need some repair or replacement. I know that with fire trucks, they don't last forever.
right.
You get 25 years out of a fire truck.
Yeah, well, yeah. Of course,
Some of them are probably that old, depending on which ones we have.
Well, I'll tell you what, the older fire trucks should be a lot better in shape than they should just be gone over and refurbished. Because as far as the equipment and steel and everything on them, you've got something there. I'd rather have a 1949 Plymouth instead of a brand new one.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't make stuff like they used to, but
That's true. But anyways, have a great day. Don't set off too many firecrackers. And
yeah, you're not allowed to fire them in the city, but they'll be all over the place.
yep.
I do not shoot them off anymore. I had one go off in my hand, and I said, that's it.
Yeah, you're playing... Well, yeah, that's...
It was a slow fuser. I thought it was on. I went to pick it up, and I was very lucky. And when those sparklers burn at about 1,300 degrees, and I see people letting their kids play with them, I just shake my head.
Yep, well, they're illegal now here in the city.
They are. They should be.
But as far as the fireworks go, when I left the service, I think my days of handling that stuff was done.
Yeah. Yet you see all these people selling these fireworks. Are there any in the city?
You know what I found out? This is weird. One year, my brother and I were driving out to, remember Family First?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're right near the border there, about as close as you can get.
Yeah.
And we were passing this fireworks outlet that's out there by Northeast.
Anthem Northeast.
Yeah, where you can buy the big heavyweight stuff there.
Oh, yeah, with the out-of-state license, people come in and buy all kinds of big,
It
fake
depends
stuff.
on where you're resident of.
Yeah, but isn't that weird that you can buy them from out of state, and we can go over the border in some cases and buy them in other states, right?
Yep.
It's like, it's the old shell game.
Yeah, well, that's...
Well, I used
I know
to
people
have
from
them
New York
shipped
do the
in.
same thing.
From Tennessee.
Is that where you bought them?
I got the class 3.
What's that considered? Is that the heavy stuff?
Yeah.
There was a couple people I knew, if you knew them, how do I put this? They had mobile
mobile
sales
tents,
facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I see a lot of that, too.
We can deliver.
UPS used to bring them to me. Pat Harkins.
Pat.
I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for
Oh,
calling.
we're going to get a call from Pat now.
There you go.
Well, you want to be in those trucks if they ever blew up, though.
Yeah, you don't want to be around one of those at all. But yeah, the tents are all over the border of the city, because you can see some. There's one over on 32nd and
What's that?
Zook, I think, where they sell the fireworks tents.
The real
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Well, I think they're more of the tame stuff. They don't get
I
the.
think the one in 90's got the heavyweight stuff, though.
Yes, usually they do.
The one out by Northeast there?
Yeah, those ones they do. They got a separate room for people with out-of-state license.
With the good stuff.
Yeah, because people from New York will come over the border. It's totally illegal in New York, but they'll come over the border, be able to buy it here, and then take it back home.
And they probably can't buy it in New York State,
No.
right?
Nope.
You can fire them in New York State, but you
No,
can't
you
buy
can't
them.
fire them in New York.
Oh, you can't?
No, but people do it anyway because they do it for the holidays. They just get away with it, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those to be safe about, though, is they crack down on it.
I kind of want to... It was a lot of fun when we were in the service. We could have a
We
nice
try to do a
4th of
lot
July.
more. Now it's a lot more. It's a lot harder to do that again anymore. You have to have the right permits and the right place to do it.
When a couple of times we were out in the field on July 4th, we'd put a couple star shells up there. And
What's the main thing is being safe with some of the fireworks that are out there. I mean, and I think that's a lot of the problem is a few people that weren't safe with them ruined it for everybody else.
well, I remember Some of those things were like a quarter stick of dynamite that were around.
Oh, yeah, like the M80s and stuff
Yeah,
like
you
that. I
could,
remember.
you could pull a fence off.
Yeah, well,
You had wood splinters all over the place. Wasn't it
I
funny,
remember
though?
lighting them and then throw them into like a creek or something, and you'd wait till they get to the bottom, and then they'd explode.
I had a crazy neighbor. He used to take cherry bombs and go like this with a
Oh,
slingshot.
and launch them.
Yeah. Don't do that at home.
Yep.
Are we done? Yeah, we're done. Well, we got to, what do we have to tell everybody? Happy 4th?
Yep. Happy 4th.
Put the flag up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's,
And don't
Independence
forget,
Day, so yes.
if you support the city in their bid to get the much-needed funds out of the Gambling Commission, call this number, 450-4070, and tell the senator how you feel.
Yep.
I will be calling him shortly.
That'd be good.
And Dave, I hope I see you next week.
I'll try to make it.
And I'm going to double-check, make sure we got Mr. Buchner coming on.
Cool, cool.
And it should be interesting.
All right, sounds good.
He's the first of a few guests that we have planned.
That's good then. Get a few different people coming through.
Hang tight, I'll give you a hand.
Yes, then don't we have to... No, I'm down below.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.